Okay, g'day Sam, how you going?
Yeah, good brother. How we doing?
Yeah, really good, thanks. Thanks for coming back on.
No worries at all, man.
Yeah, I like keeping my finger on the New Zealand backyard ultra pulse. So I've got you on today, and I've got Anthony Kerr Taylor on tomorrow. So that'll be good too.
Sweet.
Yeah. Um, so last time you were on the podcast last year, before the Masters at Dead Cow Gully, your PB was 46. So a lot sure has changed since then.
Yeah, for sure.
Remember when you were on last time? We talked about how like Laz referred to you as the gunfighter, and I was kind of like saying that could be your nickname, but that didn't really catch on. But Cloudlander has, but I'm not really too sure about where that nickname Cloudlander came from.
Oh, it's not really a nickname. It's just my brand. Um, yeah, it's the I guess the brand that I created when I was in high school, and it's the name of my sports coaching business now.
Yeah, yeah, cool, Cloudlander, and in at Dead Cow Gully last year. I mean, you entered a whole new realm, more than doubling your previous PB, breaking 100. Some people are into visualizing. I'm not sure if you're into that kind of stuff, but leading into the race, you're pretty confident that you were going to break 100 and all that kind of stuff. But was
Mhm.
going for that much longer at Dead Cow Gully last year, was it was it how you imagined?
I don't think I knew what I imagined it would be. I trusted in my systems and processes as far as nutrition and mental strength and yeah, all the rest. And it's just kind of replicating and extrapolating that model to a bigger race, which is what I did. I didn't expect the level of brutality that it would have on my body because I lost more than 10% of my body weight during the course of Dead Cow Gully last year. So I was about 69 kilos, and I think over the course of the 4.5 days, I lost 7 kilos.
Right. That must have been a big learning because I'm pretty sure I heard at Dead Cow Gully this year after the race you actually put on weight. Is that right?
Correct. So yeah, I've fixed my nutrition and hydration, and instead of it, yeah, taking a massive physical toll on me these days, it's just another race now, which is cool.
Yeah. And did you, as far as nutrition goes, before Dead Cow Gully last year, because you lost so much weight, did you do anything like, did you go out and get a nutritionist or anything like that? Or
Mm.
um, because
Yeah,
of
so
that?
off the back of Dead Cow Gully last year, I linked up with a sports dietitian called Kushla Holdaway, who used to be the dietitian for Dan Jones, who just came fourth at Western States. He's like our number one point to point ultra marathon runner at the moment out in New Zealand. And yeah, she was apart from my coach that I got a couple of years ago. She'd be the best investment that I've made in my running, and so yeah, she just fixed a few of the problems that I was having with my nutrition and hydration that I didn't realize I was having, and yeah, kind of got me from yeah this level up to this level.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds like she's made a big difference. Um, in Breaking Point, that the doco that was made about Dead Cow Gully last year, there's a scene where you were sitting beside the fire between loops, and you'd been going for, I think it was around the 72-hour mark, and they captured a moment where you released a whole heap of emotion. And it was a pretty hardcore moment of the film. Um, and I know that running in backyard ultras can bring about waves of emotion and stuff like that. But was that something new for you in a backyard ultra as well?
Um, yeah, I guess it was a little bit new. If you're talking about 72 hours, then that'd be 300 miles, and yeah, I got pretty emotional around the 300 300-mile mark, just because it was significantly longer than I'd ever run before. And yeah, 300 miles is a big feat. There was only three of us left in the race at that point. So yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say I broke down, but I was just like, holy shit, this is a big deal.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it's one of the things that I love most about backyard ultras is that, like, I mean, nearly every sport that you watch, the athletes make it look easy. But when you're watching a backyard ultra, it definitely, except maybe for the person who finishes as the last one standing, it definitely doesn't look easy. And that's one of the things I love about backyard ultras.
Mm-hmm.
But that moment in Breaking Point, that's one of my favourites. But it's such a good backyard ultra film out there. It came out about a week before Biggs, like in the week leading up to Biggs. So pretty much everyone at Biggs would have probably just watched it. So did it put a bit of more of a spotlight on you at Biggs?
I don't know if it put a spotlight on me per se. Just the film itself. I think it probably gave me a little bit more. I guess people knowing about me, people who didn't already know about me. Because there's obviously the opening scene where I'm about toasted, and it's quite an emotive little scene. So definitely had a lot more people reach out to me off the back of that. But
yeah, did it kind of fire you up? Like, was it good for you, do you think, like coming out at that time, or did it kind of like distract you a little bit?
No, not at all. I was just glad it came out when it did. It was nicely timed, and been waiting for it for a while. And yeah, it's a pretty sick little documentary. So yeah, just cool to be part of it.
Yeah, I thought so too. It needed to come out before Biggs. It was the perfect timing, I thought. So I've been following you on Instagram for a while, and to me, it looks like you're enjoying running more than you've ever enjoyed it. Would I be right?
Yeah, to a degree. It's cold as hell in Christchurch at the moment, so the incentive to train isn't quite there like it was a few months ago when it was all nice and warm and dry, and I could run on the hills no problem. Now it's it's a bit cold and wet and windy and horrible. But no, loving running, and yeah, it's been a year now since I quit my job, and nearly a year now since I've been operating my coaching business, and yeah, that's all I'm doing these days. So just enjoying life, really.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I think it definitely looked like you're enjoying yourself, like when you're doing those 300K weeks before Dead Cat.
Yeah, well, in parts, but in a lot of ways, it was very taxing on the self discipline, on my willpower, because 300 plus K weeks are a lot. Even for me, but that was what they were always supposed to be. My sweet spot somewhere in the 200 to 230K per week range when I'm nailing my training really nicely. So I just wanted to crank it up to 300Ks and give myself something to complain about, and maybe enjoy the running a little bit less, and be out of my comfort zone, push through, and just kind of temper my willpower, as it were. So I was a little bit stronger upstairs for some of these big races, especially with the likes of going back to Dead Cow Gully this year.
Yeah. So that extra like 80 to 100Ks, that was like to work on your mind.
Yeah, absolutely. At that point, I don't think it's having a heck of a lot of benefit physically. unless you're absolutely nailing your nutrition and your hydration and your rest and basically like recovering from all the damage that you're doing, you're more likely impeding your body's ability to perform. But I know that my body can perform really well. I just wanted to get the top 2 inches nicely honed, and I don't know, just get myself to a point where I'm a little bit more dead inside, and able to go a little bit deeper and through more testing times. And I guess that translated quite nicely at Dead Cow, because honestly nothing phased me, and I could have gone for a heck of a lot longer. So that was cool. My little training experiment certainly paid off.
Yeah. And when you're running like that many kilometers a week, how were you replacing all those calories? Like when you weren't running, were you just like stuffing your face?
Yeah, quite a high calorie intake. It was generally like get up in the morning, have a couple of coffees with like sugars, and then I'd be eating like 4 eggs or meat plus like hash browns for breakfast. I'd be going for a morning run, and the next couple of hours after that, I'd be smashing a protein shake with like carbs and fat and berries and all that sort of stuff. As soon as I got home from the first run, eating a pretty calorie dense lunch, and then running again in the afternoon if I hadn't kind of knocked out the entire allocation for the day in the morning, which was I was generally running anywhere from 43 to 50 Ks a day. So if there was space for a run in the afternoon, do the run in the afternoon, eat again immediately after that, and then eat again for dinner. So I was eating something like 5 meals a day.
Yeah. So Dead Cow Gully this year, when did you lock that race into your schedule?
I think it was like November or December last year. Tim reached out to me and asked me to come over as his international runner, as it were, at the time, before he'd planned his big money incentive for people to come and race. So that was locked in as of last year.
Yeah. So I was obviously there, and it looked like you were really enjoying yourself. You had a couple of Aussies there that you coached too, running as well, Paul and Darren, and it looked like you enjoyed running with them too.
Yeah, it was pretty sick. I got some good people on my team, so it's nice to be able to share the field with them sometimes.
Yeah, and having Paul and Darren there running with you, did that like just help mentally to get through that first 24 to 30 hours?
I wouldn't say it helped me per se get through. I was just ticking over hours at that point in time, but it definitely adds a different aspect to the racing, because there's a bit of coaching going on out there. Like I think Paul's crew left at one point, and he had a big window in between one part of his crew leaving and then the next part of his crew turning up. So I was just like, we'll move you into my gazebo, and then my mum can look after you while she's crewing me, and then that way you don't go without a crew, because going without a crew in these things is stupid. So just meant I was able to look after him a little bit, look after Daz as well a little bit. But at the end of the day, like I believe in my athletes, and at the end of the day, like we've done the training, and their bodies and their minds are tempered for the task. So I know that I can leave them out there and to their own devices, and they should be pretty sweet in getting the job done, which they both got the job done pretty well, both of them.
Yeah, they both ran big PBs as well, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think I read in one of your race reports after that race something about running through some pretty serious pain in that first 24 hours, and like there was even a stage where I think you mentioned that you were considering like you might have to drop early.
Yeah, what would have that been? First 24 hours, I was struggling with my nutrition. I don't know what was going on. I wasn't able to get my typical food down, so I was just consuming gels like they were going out of fashion, which isn't my typical nutrition strategy. So yeah, that was a bit odd. I also blew my Achilles tendons up. I think it was maybe poor shoe choice and lack of gym work in the month or so leading up. But yeah, I was having to work on my Achilles tendons, which took me out of. I did a race like 2 weeks after Bigs. I came back to New Zealand and did the Arrowtown Backyard Ultra, and I think I ran like 32 or 33 hours at that before one of my Achilles blew up to the point it was like 4 times the diameter of the other Achilles, and I just like I couldn't even walk on it, let alone run on it. So that took me out of that race, and it looked like the same thing was going to happen at DCG this year. So I was like, oh shit, this is going to take me out way before I had planned. So yeah, just had to manage that, stretch it, massage it, rub it, and hope like hell that it didn't ping, because you don't really have any say once it goes, it's gone, and there ain't no toughen through it in that situation. Like you've lost your mechanical integrity.
I remember seeing a video of that Arrowtown race when you had dropped and you were walking back to camp, and I'm pretty sure that like you walked past a couch or something, and you thought that there was a beer under the mattress, and you were like, oh yeah, I'm going to drink the beer, but the beer wasn't there. Remember that?
Yeah. No, there was a quitter's chair out on the course, and for the entirety of the race up to that point, there was a beer sitting on the couch, but obviously some tourist or something had pinched it.
Yeah, bad timing.
Yeah.
So at Dead Cow, it was a bit different because it had the same loop the whole time, rather compared to at the Masters, they had the night loop on the road. So how did you find running on the same loop day and night?
It was nice. Yeah, I like the Dead Cow Gully day loop. I can run on the road, no problem. The Dead Cow Gully road loop isn't, I don't know, super inviting or nice. So yeah, it got pretty lonely last year at Masters. Yeah, so it was much nicer just running out in the paddocks for the entirety of the race this time round. It'll be interesting coming back next year. I'm sure next year the international athletes or Harvey will have said that they want a night loop out on the road, which I don't completely agree with, but it'll be what it is, and I don't know. It's a good little bit of practice leading into Bigs next year. Just having the day and the night, and just getting you accustomed to that system. Whether it's as nice as the Bigs night loop or not, because the Bigs day loop's pretty horrible, but the Bigs night loop is very, very fast and forgiving. So yeah.
It sounds like the loop at Dead Cow Gully, it comes to life at night time with all the animals and stuff running around.
Yeah, it's crazy. I would be interested to see if it's the same in June, because obviously May's a little bit warmer and more humid at night, where you get into June and all of a sudden it's sub-freezing temperatures, and I'm sure there's a fair bit of nightlife that we saw at Dead Cow Gully this year, that next year we may not see, just with it being that much colder.
Yeah.
But no, I really enjoyed running at night at Dead Cow Gully this year, and just having cane toads and frogs and bugs and crazy birds that we don't have back in New Zealand. So yeah, just it's a bit of visual stimulation that you wouldn't get otherwise. And yeah, I guess that'll be a factor that we'll lose if we're running night loops on the road, because there's going to be bugger all to see out there.
Yeah. So word was out on the Dead Cow Gully beat that you were sleeping really well between loops this year. Like you were getting like 10 minutes between each loop is what people were saying. Was that the best you've slept at a Backyard Ultra, or is that pretty much normal for you?
No, so I've only really been sleeping at Backyard Ultras since Bigs. I slept at Dead Cow Gully last year, but I was getting like little micro sleeps of like 1 and 2 minutes. And since Bigs, I've been running faster loops at night, getting more sleep. And yeah, I guess I generally have always struggled to get to sleep because I've got a very active mind. But yeah, I went to Bigs last year, and I was getting like 15 to 20 minutes sleep pretty much every loop. Every loop in the dark at Bigs last year, I was asleep for a very large period of time. And I think until Phil got sick, me and him were around about equal for the amount of sleep that we were getting, and it was far greater than anyone else out there on course. And then once he got sick, he obviously wasn't able to spend as much time in bed, and in that case, I ended up with the most amount of sleep out of any athlete at Bigs. So that's been pretty cool. It means I'm a lot stronger in the race, and my brain's working. And then at Dead Cow Gully, probably wasn't getting the same amount of sleep just because I wasn't running my loops at night as fast as I was at Bigs, but still getting a pretty confident kind of 10 to 13 minutes sleep every loop. And that was obviously something that the other lads weren't able to achieve, and it's what kind of sealed their demise.
Yeah. Is sleeping something you practice? Because I know Harvey Lewis talks about taking a yoga mat to work and having naps like at work. Like, is it something that you've worked on, or is it just something that you focus on at races?
No, I don't think you need to practice it really. Like, once you are sufficiently sleep deprived, provided you put yourself into a good setting to go to sleep, your body's going to do the rest, because you're so exhausted at that point.
Yeah, fair enough. So one of the big bombshell announcements about 8 or 9 months before Dead Cow Gully was the 10 grand for the last one standing. So how influential was that prize money in making the decision to run?
I mean, I had already made the decision to run, so it was just kind of a bonus and a nice little sweetener.
Yeah. Did personally, I think prize money is pretty awesome, but you do hear some, because it's kind of like a new thing in Backyard Ultras. Not everyone feels that way, and some people like say it's not in the spirit of Backyard Ultras and stuff like that. But what do you think about prize money in Backyard Ultras?
Oh no, I think if you're running a business off the back of athletics, so if you are holding races, whether it's a 5K series, a 10K series, or 100-mile races, I believe that the top athletes should always be compensated. Like, and that's a belief that I've had for a very long time. Like, the top athletes are putting in hundreds and thousands of dollars into operating at the top level in the sport, well, regardless of the distance, and they should be able to at least make back the cost of an event if they are putting in all that work and all that time and all that money, and essentially acting as a marketing agent for the race and for the race director, because they are the big name, and they also become a very big draw card for a lot of the day-to-day athletes that come in. So yeah, and especially with the backyards, because backyards, like, if you're at the top of the top, then you're probably going to be out there for 3+ days, 4-5 days, and the hit's a massive investment. Like the 10 grand from DK Gully, that was awesome, but at the end of the day, it's barely a break even effort. Like, by the time I pay for my flights, the flights for my crew, camper van rental to get us there, food for a week, all of a sudden that money's pretty well gone. So it is nice to be able to recover some of those costs.
Yeah, definitely. There was some discussion after the race between yourself, James Blanton, and Ryan Crawford that the 10 grand may have been a factor in you putting Ryan to the sword during that 69th yard. So would you say that having that money on the line did bring out a more aggressive strategy to finish the race early rather than working towards a bigger total?
I wasn't really incentivized by the money at all. I'm incentivized by doing my job, which is winning and performing at the highest level possible. In the final few hours, I could tell that Ryan was pretty well spent. Like, Jimmy B had held on for many hours longer than I thought he would. Like, the fact that he even made it to the evening of the, into the Monday evening, shocked me, because he was looking pretty rough during the day of the Monday, and I was like, oh yeah, he'll cook himself sometime in the afternoon in the heat of the day, and then it'll just be me and Ryan. So the fact that he made it into the dark, I was like, hat off to you, brother. You're a mad dog. But yeah, then Ryan, I tried to come and help Ryan for a few hours before the end, because I wanted him to go far, and I wanted us to go far. But it was when I slowed down and ran with him and tried to help him for a bit, I kind of started to pick up on how cooked he was. Like, he obviously hadn't been sleeping, because his banter was, I don't know, somewhat questionable. He's losing his mind a wee bit, which is what happens when you haven't slept in 3 days. And so my instincts at that point just say, oh, you're not long for this world. Like, it's very hard to help someone in that situation, because you're only going to get worse once you've been running that slow and getting that little sleep. It becomes very hard to speed up and then get more sleep, and that's something that I even found out was running a couple of slow hours with him to try and kind of like encourage him along. That ended up negatively impacting me, because I was running slower, getting less sleep. As a result, it took me like 3, maybe even more hours to progressively get myself back up to my normal pace. So that was quite a bit of a work on, and yeah, at that point, I was just once I had started consecutively running faster and faster loops, every loop I ran faster, I got more time in bed. More time in bed meant I had more energy, which meant I then ran even faster, and so it just all picked up, and then it made me feel pretty damn good, and I just started running faster and faster and faster, and that's when Ryan got disoriented and lost on loop 69.
Yeah. And when you win a big race like this, like, do you celebrate? Like, how did you celebrate after Dead Cow Gully?
How did I celebrate? I mean, we stayed with some friends near Noosa, and just had a bit of a little Australian holiday after that. So that was nice. Yeah, no, some races I celebrate, and then some I just carry on with life, because yeah, like winning in high performance sounds a little bit sad, but it's like it's not really something for me to celebrate, because it's just an expectation at this point. Like I expect best in the world level performance, and if I do that, and it's like, cool, you've done your job, now carry on with life. It's more so the failures and the not quite best in the world performances. Those are the ones that I'll beat myself up over, because like, you didn't do your job. So yeah, perfection is just an expectation at this point.
Yeah, fair enough. So I mean, the only time I ever drink alcohol is like after a race, and like I might only drink like 1 or 2 glasses of wine, if that. But I mean, a lot of runners don't even drink alcohol at all, and I'm not sure about you, but do you ever like have a cold one or anything like that after a win?
I did last year after Dead Cow Gully. I have kind of fostered this new concept of not adulterating the high after a race. Like when you win a race, or you perform really well, you've got all these nice neurochemicals flowing through your body and making you feel quite good about yourself. And to then bastardize that feeling with alcohol or whatever else, it seems a little bit of a shame, because you put so much effort into achieving that state, and then you've gone and kind of diluted it with something else. So yeah, I would traditionally always have a cold one after a race. However, the desire for that is a lot less these days, and I'll win my race, or I'll do really well in my race, and then I'll just chill and enjoy the high for the next 24 to 48 hours, or however long that state of mind so happens to hang around.
Yeah, cool. And I see you're a confirmed starter at Dead Cow Gully Masters next year.
Yeah.
That race is going to be off its head, I reckon.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's I did go to Dead Cow Gully this year with the intention of redeeming myself after last year, only getting second. Wanted to come back, win it this year, get the world record. However, obviously won it, but didn't get the world record. But at the same time, I realized how much I like that course. Like, Dead Cow Gully is a cool spot. There's some cool people there. Very, very, very runnable. Mm-hmm. And yeah, with the right people there, we'll absolutely get the world record. Will it be as enjoyable at the end of June as it is at the start of May? Definitely not. Not looking forward to running in the cold, but it is what it is. yeah, with that lineup of athletes, it's going to be crazy. So I'd be very surprised if we don't get the world record this time next year.
Yeah. So I've got a long question. So backyard ultras are definitely growing, and not just in participation, but it kind of feels like it's slowly becoming a sport that just people follow, especially people who are into running. So prize money is more common, live streams are more common, and there are races outside of bigs that generate a lot of interest, like Suffolk, Dead Cow Gully, Capital, and there's others as well. But to me, it's the runners themselves that are driving the growth of backyard ultras, and not just by running records, but there are like so many great personalities like yourself, Harvey Lewis, Ryan Crawford, Ehor Verries, Phil Gore, and there's heaps of them. But when you think about the very biggest sporting events in the world, they involve rivalries, and so people love rivalries. So do you think that runners in the backyard ultra world, like, are too nice to each other and leading into and leading into races, like, outside interest would go to another level if some runners started posting stuff on Instagram talking about how they're going to kick another runner's ass in an upcoming race, and like smack talk and stuff like that?
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. That's a hard one. I think to get to the top in backyard ultra, and maybe to a degree in ultra marathon itself in general, I think you've got to have mastered your own mind to a certain degree, and you get to a point where like nothing really phases you. You're not really a combative person anymore. I mean, like, I'm definitely a scrappy bastard by the definition of the term, but at the same time, it's like everybody's chill. Like, generally everybody in ultra marathon, or at least in the backyard, is a pretty chill person, and so you don't really have all of that bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you like wanted to foster or engineer an image like that, similar to UFC type shit, then I'm sure you could. But yeah, you just don't seem to find those kind of people.
Yeah. So if someone did have the balls to post something on Instagram calling you out, would you return fire, or would you just like ignore it?
Did they?
No, no one has yet.
I mean, I might not have the top result in the world, but I definitely see myself as the best athlete in the world doing this sport, and I'm just kind of like honing my skills so that I can take that top spot and then hold it. So I see that happening pretty soon. If anyone was to call me out, I'd just say, sweet,
Yeah.
meet me in the arena. Let's go. Like, I like a challenge. Come at me.
Yeah. Yeah. So you must be pretty happy and impressed with the constant improvement by your fellow New Zealand runners, especially the improvement over the numbers they've made over the last 12 months.
Yeah, no, it's been it's been impressive. Gets me worried every now and then, because like I used to just be able to turn up and know, yeah, I can pretty much win any backyard ultra in New Zealand without having to without it having to go into Monday. However, now all of them are typically going into the early hours of Monday morning, and some of them are even getting into the daylight. So yeah, it's a longer race, but no, I think it's cool, and even more so cool that I have kind of got to be the guy that's inspired everybody else. because not so long ago, all the Kiwis were only running 20s and 30s, and now they're running 40s and 50s. And last time we had the teams championship, like the kind of the tail end people on the New Zealand team had 24 loops under their belt, and now to get on the team, it's something like 40 loops to get on to the team. So we're a much stronger nation, and I've kind of been able to lead the charge on that, which is pretty sick.
You must be chomping at the bit for the Sat Champs in October.
Less so chomping at the bit with the fact that it's in the middle of nowhere. I mean, hopefully it's a pretty location. I've been told it's kind of pretty, but I'm expecting it's going to be pretty cold and miserable the whole time we're there.
Right.
So I really liked the last satellite championship location up in Auckland. It was very smooth, rolling terrain, very open and scenic. So hopefully there's that, but it'll be what it'll be. I'm looking forward to coming back and defending my national title, and seeing if I can push the New Zealand team on a little bit further, and maybe even get a couple of people qualified for qualified to come over to Bigs with me next year. So it's not just me on my own.
Yeah. I know with this, I know with Australia anyway, the course that they're using is Harvey's, but they're fine tuning it to make it as conducive to high totals as possible. So with the course, the New Zealand course, have they scouted a location that they reckon is perfect for high totals, or is it a venue that a Backyard Ultra's been run at before? And do you know much about the actual course?
Yeah, it's not a venue that has been run at before. As far as I'm aware, it's very flat. It will have a night course, like an out and back on the road, which is cool. Just to give everyone a bit of a practice on kind of Bigs simulation, and then supposedly the corral is right next to like a lodge or a campground area, so we're gonna have like showers, flush toilets, bunk rooms. So that'll be pretty cool. It'll add a level of comfort, which definitely goes a long way in these things. It's set in the mountains in our kind of lakes district, so hopefully quite picturesque. And if we can avoid a frost, that'd be ideal. But I know it gets pretty chilly around there that time of year.
Okay, well, it sounds awesome. Whether it's cold or not, sounds really good. So at the Sat Champs, I mean, you guys have several runners with PBs in the low 50s, like you said. There's other countries like Australia with Phil Gore. He's got people who have joined him in the 80s and 70s. You've got USA. You've got John Knoll with Harvey Lewis and others. And I was wondering with you, your PB is a lot higher than the second New Zealand runner. So how are you going to use your experience to support the other New Zealand runners and help them go into another realm and find new limits?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. And it's one that requires a lot of growth from me as an athlete, because I know I can win pretty much any one of these races that you put me in, regardless of who I'm competing with. And I want the best for others. I want the best for my teammates. And I think in a lot of ways it requires me to kind of grandfather everybody in and kind of look after people, where I guess typically as an endurance athlete, that's not your thing. Like if you're an endurance athlete, you're a bit of a lone wolf. You look after yourself and you get shit done. Where, it requires me to do a lot of looking after, and that actually takes a heck of a lot more energy than just running your own race. Like, you're worrying about other people, you're, I guess, giving them your focus or your bandwidth, and as a result, it takes focus off the job that you're doing. So yeah, but I think it's necessary for me to grow as an athlete and kind of get to best at world level. Like, I want to be, I don't want to just be here. I want to be right up here, and that requires me to be carrying out a few different practices that others wouldn't have even thought of.
So with the Sat Champs, I wouldn't call it a loophole, but there is kind of a loophole, and it's kind of, I've been thinking about it recently, that there's a handful of runners like yourself who are so high up on the at-large list that you're pretty much a lock to make it to Bigs next year without having to win the golden ticket for Team New Zealand. So what I wonder is, and I'm not sure if you've thought about this or not, but I wonder, like, there will be a few runners from other countries who'll find themselves in this situation too. You'll be running at the Sat Champs. Well, will you be running at the Sat Champs with a win at all costs mentality, or if it's just down to you and one of your teammates, say, for example, you're in the high 60s or low 70s, they look like they're about to drop, you'll be in a situation where you can take the win and the golden ticket, or you can come second and lock in a second New Zealander to run at Bigs. So has that crossed your mind?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say it's crossed my mind as much as multiple people have presented that idea to me.
Yeah.
The one thing that I guess a lot of those people haven't considered is, regardless of that scenario, this is still the national championship. Like, the team's championship is your country's national championship, and like, I'm not here to play. I'm here. Well, I'm here to play for keeps.
Yeah.
I want to dominate, and I want to dominate for a long time, and as much of the market of ultramarathon as possible. And whilst it would be nice to allow someone else to go to Bigs, I see myself as a national champion and one day world champion, and I just can't give away my national title. So yeah. I'm the current national champion, and I'm going to stay that for as long as I physically can. However, if someone wants to go to Bigs with me, all they have to do is keep running.
Yeah.
And I'll keep running with them. So that's how you get your spot. You just got to get on the at-large list, and if it's important enough to someone, then they'll find a way to make it happen.
Yeah, cool. So leading into Dead Cow Gully last year, I mean, everyone could tell how fired up to break 100 you were and to break the world record. And I could kind of, I'm pretty sure I could feel how excited and keen you were to show everyone how good you are. And you'd been waiting for such a long time to do it as well. So now you're right up the top of the tree with the best of them. Is that excitement still there, or has it been replaced with like a sense of calm or a sense of or more pressure? Like, how are you feeling now? Or are you still excited?
I'm still excited because, I mean, like, it's only really been since Dead Cow Gully last year that I've entered this new chapter in my life as an athlete. Like, took on professional sponsorship only a couple of weeks after Dead Cow Gully, and launched my business. And yeah, so I was already kind of in a bit of an exponential growth phase in my career, and that has only continued. So it's more or less just been like me adapting to my new life that I have been working on building for so long. And now it's kind of like I'm getting the fruit out of all that work, and yeah, it's I guess I'm at a more comfortable stage where I don't really feel as much that I need to prove it. Like I've proven what I can do, and now I'm just kind of here to dominate for as long as I can. So yeah, just doing all I can to stay at the top.
Yeah. You have mentioned bigs a few times and becoming world champion. So obviously going back to bigs is very important to you.
Yeah, go back to bigs next year. Lots of racing to be done before then, though, so I try not to focus on it too much. Yeah, got all sorts of stuff before then. Got Sat Champs, got a couple of different UTMB World Series events. Tarawera, got some racing in Japan. I've got UTMB itself over in Europe, and then got to plan out the rest of my year next year. So yeah, heaps of racing to focus on in the meantime before I even start worrying about next year's World Championship, because we haven't even run this year's World Championship.
So are you going to UTMB this year, are you?
Not this year.
Oh.
So I came second at the Tarawera 100-mile race in February this year, and that qualified me for UTMB. But under the new system, I think it's with Ironman having taken over the show, instead of having an entry for this year and next year, my entry goes for next year, which is actually quite nice, because I am totally fine with having another year before I go and beat crap out of my body, running up very, very steep hills over in Europe. So, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, because that run at Tarawera, that was awesome. And it was awesome, like all the footage you were taking and posting on Instagram too.
Yeah. Looking forward to going back next year. I think if I had have been a little bit more aggressive, I could have maybe shook up Adrian McDonald to the point where, yes, he's maybe physically stronger than me, but if I had have caught him, it might have flipped the switch in his brain, and you never know. Someone's race can fall apart once they've been caught, and I might have taken the top spot. But to get second and run a 15:29 100-mile is crazy. That I think that immediately pushed me to 85th in the world for UTMB for 100 miles. Yeah. So yeah, and there's definitely room to improve. So it'll be awesome to try and climb the ranks over the next 12 months and see where I can get myself to prior to UTMB.
Yeah. Did that run at Tarawera, did you even surprise yourself?
Oh, massively.
Yeah. Yeah.
The first 4 hours of the race, I was running with a heart rate of 175 to 192. Right. And I was just like, this is not sustainable. But just kept charging and held on. And yeah, before long, I was sitting in a confident second, and then I just held it for the whole day. Lost it with 18 Ks to go to Mike Carroll. He inched past me into second place, and then I caught him at the last aid station with 5 Ks to go and put him to the sword, and yeah, got my second place finish. And I was just like, what the hell?
Yeah. So one of the good things about backyard ultras is that, especially if you're up near the top like you, is that you really only have to run one every 2 year, and that's at bigs. If you run enough yards at bigs, that's enough to qualify you for bigs in 2 years' time. So I mean, do you think? I mean, that has it crossed your mind to just do that maybe over the next few years, so you can focus more on getting faster over 100 miles and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, but best laid plans of mice and men. I'm always like, I'll only do this race and I'll do this race, and then something pops up and it just works out. Like this last weekend at Krazies, like the likelihood of doing something very, very significant on a global standing was minimal, but at the same time, I'd won it the first 2 years since its inception. So I was going for three because, I mean, how many people do you know have won an ultra marathon 3 years consecutively and up the distance every time? So yeah, I thought that was a cool little achievement.
And it looked like it was like, was there a teams element to the race as well? Like, were you running in a team as well?
Yeah. So they have a teams category, which doesn't really count for much apart from you get prizes at the end and a bit of bragging rights. So they basically add up the cumulative total of loops or kilometers that you achieve in your team of 4, and you get spot prizes and stuff for doing well. So
yeah, that's a pretty good idea, isn't it? That's a good thing to have. As we talked about before, it looks like since 12 months ago, it looks like you've really upped the coaching side of things. And I saw firsthand not only how much Paul and Darren enjoyed running with you, but it was pretty obvious you were proud of how they went too. So if anyone out there is interested, are you taking on new clients as well at the moment?
yeah, always kind of have little windows opening up every now and then. Not everybody stays with me forever, so as people move on their journey, then I pick new athletes up. But yeah, this is my bread and butter now. All I do is running, and then teaching other people how to run like me and give them the opportunity to become elite if they're willing to do the work. So yeah, currently taking new athletes and just helping people do crazy stuff that maybe they don't know how to do on their own.
Mm. And it looks like you've got a few clients from a few different countries. I know you've got Iceland, Australia. You've probably got a few others as well. Like, how many different countries have you got clients in?
Yeah, so I coach athletes, all over the world. I've got athletes in New Zealand, Australia, USA, Canada, Iceland, Norway, the UK, and that's it currently. Yeah, always get excited when someone new pops up.
Yeah, cool.
And the new spot gives me a new dynamic to adapt around.
Yeah. So Sam, I'm not sure if you know, but at the end of the podcast, I like to ask my guests for their 3 backyard ultra tips. So what would your 3 backyard ultra tips be?
3 backyard ultra tips. Run the loop you're in. It's a pretty obvious one. It's probably something that everybody says. But yeah, run the loop that you're in and don't overcomplicate things. If it's important enough to you, you'll find a way to get it done. And don't make excuses.
Yeah.
Because every time you make an excuse, in my mind, this little cancer grows within your brain and it opens the door to further excuses. And that perpetuates throughout all of your racing and all of your life. And you just become very, very good at making excuses. Where if you find a way to overcome excuses, then I don't know, you kill that little cancer within yourself, and you become stronger, and your resolve becomes, your resolve becomes better, and essentially you temper your resilience every time you overcome and don't make up excuses, whether they be small or little, or I don't know, pretty well grounded or not. Just keep going.
Yeah, yeah. I remember when I finished birdies last year, someone asked, like, why did I stop? And I said that my legs hurt. I'm never going to use that. I'm never going to use that excuse again, because I saw the look of disgust on some really good runners' faces, and I thought, well, that's obviously not a very good reason to stop.
Yeah, no, I tell people that a lot when they're complaining about their legs hurting. It's like, yeah, no shit, it's an ultra marathon. Like, did you want all pillows and fluffy bunnies? Like, it's hard.
Yeah,
That's the whole point of this. So dig deeper, endure it, and carry on.
yeah. So have you got any backyard ultras before Sat Champs, or is that your next one?
No, so Sat Champs is in October. I've got 2 months of just chilling, just training and trying to get strong and fit and fast again. And then me and my wife Anna, we head over to Japan for the entire month of September, and I've got 3 races over there. Slight overkill. We've got a 50k, 100k, and 130k, all within like a 2.5 week window. It might even be a 2 week window. It's ridiculous. Bit too much. And then I think I've got something like 3 weeks after that to recover before Sat Champs, which will be heaps.
Yeah, unreal. Those that racing in Japan, that will be heaps of fun.
Yeah, it should be good.
Yeah.
Add a little bit of a twist on things, and just a little bit of, I don't know, a bit of racing tourism, and slightly nicer weather than we've got in New Zealand at the moment. So
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's the same with ultra marathons, but with marathons anyway, the Japanese, their mindset is just to go out as hard as they possibly can and just try and run their whole race, like redline the whole race. Do you know if they do that with like over 50 and 100 Ks as well?
Oh, they've got some wild ultra marathon runners over there. I've watched a few ultramarathon documentaries over there, and they have a massive population and a massive population of runners. So big fields, like 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people entered in an ultramarathon. And there'll be some spicy boys just hammer it off the start. And there's a guy, Mamba Hajime, he came second at Tarawera 100 mile last year. Very strong runner, like crazy athlete. And I spotted him in one of these documentaries. And I was like, oh, I know that dude. He's wearing the exact same clothes he was wearing last time I raced him.
Right.
And they took off the start, and honestly, he wasn't even in the top 20.
Right, yeah.
Like, and he is known for hammering out the gate. So these guys were just hammering tongs gone. Well, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, unreal. Have you been to Japan before?
Yeah, I was in Japan in 2018 for, I don't know, maybe a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Never raced there, and I guess probably see myself as slightly more of an adult now.
Yeah. How old are you at the moment? Like 31? 32?
31, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
31.
Yeah, very good. Well, thanks heaps for coming on the podcast again. It's been an awesome chat. Well done on everything you've done since last time we spoke.
It's been a fun 12 months. Very productive, and I think it's a good foundation for more big things to come.
Yeah, it was really, really fun watching you win at Dead Cow Gully as well. It was really, really good experience being there watching that. And yeah, all the best in Japan, and all the best at the Sat Champs too.
No, I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much.
No worries. Yeah, till next time, and yeah, I'll be at Dead Cow next year again doing the live stream. So I'll see you there.
Yeah, well, you will indeed see me there.
All right. See you, Sam.
Cheers, Pato. See you later.
If you've enjoyed this podcast, it would be awesome if you could share, comment, like, subscribe, all of that. If you've got any feedback, shoot me a message. Hope you have a great day. See ya.